Have a long one. I've put a general feeling of not tackling the big things because all your time is used on the small stuff. Can I just see who feels this? They just never get around to the big things because all the small stuff. There's Maddie May putting up her hand there. I can see, and a few other people. Yeah. So what I want to say about this is I want to tell you about the oh, and Heather. Yeah, it is the rocks and the sand. Now you may have seen this, but I want to do it differently and better. Okay, the rocks and the sand. So you've probably seen this thing where they say you've got a glass jar and you've got some rocks to go in it, pile of rocks, and you've got some sand. And you want to put them both in the jar. Which one do you put in first? Have you seen that before? Some people have. Yeah. Lots of people haven't. Now, it's really important to see this if you haven't. So what they say is you should put the rocks in first. And the rocks are obviously, these are the big jobs, big things that need doing. They say put the rocks in first because then the sand can sort of trickle down between the rocks, assuming it's like dry, powdery sand from a lovely beach in California or somewhere. So the sand can trickle down there. So the idea is you do the big jobs and the small stuff can fit in around them, right? That's what they say. But actually, I don't think that's realistic in real life because usually the rocks are important. That's true. But the sand is quite often urgent. And you can't just say, leave all the urgent stuff till you've done those big important jobs because the urgent stuff can't wait. Now, what some people do is they do the urgent stuff first. And their plan is get rid of all the urgent stuff, like, check your emails and deal with all the little inquiries and stuff, and then put the rocks in. But of course, as you can see, the rocks sort of don't really fit in. And the other thing about this pile of sand that I didn't tell you is it's a magic, ever replenishing pile of sand. There'll always be more. There'll always be more emails. Have you ever logged onto your computer and there's like 50 emails and you think, well, I'll clear those. And by the time you've answered the 50, there's another 25. And by the time you've answered the 25, there's another 10. And by the time you answer the 10, there's another 5. And by the time you've done the last 5, it's time to go home. And you just think, what? And so that's because you've been trying to get rid of the sand and you've ended up, your jar has just been full of urgent but unimportant sand. And you drive home thinking, I've achieved nothing today. Now, if you're working in a store, at least you can think, I've sold a whole load of stuff. So that's great. But in an office, it is actually quite easy to drive home thinking, what have I achieved today? I mean, I've done a load of urgent stuff, but I haven't really made any progress. I've just been staying level, but not making progress. Okay. So what I'd recommend with this is that you come into work and you just deal with a few really urgent things straight away. Perhaps scan through your emails. If there's one from Zvi, then you probably should reply straight away and just do the really urgent stuff and then put a rock in. Now, this may not work if you're working actually in a retail store, but if you're in an office, you just think, right, I'm going to spend, say, an hour doing next year's plan or going through all the stock, working out which things we're going to keep and which ones we're not, or looking for errors or whatever it is you might be doing. So you put a rock in and all the sand has just got to wait. But most things can wait an hour. Now, obviously, a customer in a shop can't wait an hour, but most things can wait an hour. Emails can often wait an hour. And then after you've done that rock, you then clear a load of sand. All the stuff that's been waiting for an hour or maybe has just come in, right? And then maybe it's lunchtime. Maybe after lunch, you put another rock in. So you say, right, 45 minutes. I'm going to just put the time aside. I'm not going to look at the emails. I'm not going to answer my phone. I'm just going to deal with this important task. And then you deal with the rest of the sand. So you alternate between the rocks and the sand. So then you can drive home thinking, I've actually had a good day in the office today. I've made some progress. I got rid of those two big rocks, those two big difficult tasks that I wouldn't normally have got around to. So if you've got something big that you have a general feeling of not tackling, the answer is to say, I'm going to spend an hour on that task tomorrow, and everything else is going to have to just damn well wait because I'm going to spend an hour on that. Now, I do think the one exception is if you're in a store. If you've got customers, you have to deal with them straight away. Customers always come first. So, but anywhere else, that's the rocks and the sand. Okay, so you have to force the big things in to your time somehow. Otherwise, the small stuff will always push them out.